So thank you for bringing me up. I was just curious, just because. Can you tell me what a faithist is? And I genuinely like when I saw your live, I was like, I wonder what that is. So can you tell me more
Yeah,
about
sure.
faithism?
Well, the term faithist comes from a book. It's been around for about 100, 150 years. Owaspy, it's on the back of the screen. So the label of faithism is relatively new, but the idea of faithism has been around for a long time in all types of cultures and religions. Basically, we only believe in the creator, and we don't deny or whatever all the different deities in the Bible or outside the Bible, whatever. It's just that we only worship the creator. um don't ask me who the creator is. I don't have a name for you. I don't have it's like I don't really think we can comprehend all the ins and outs of the creator. But so we only worship the creator. We strive to individually grow and mature and to walk the path to the light as best as we can, without adhering to religion or politics. We are nonviolent. Trying to grow ourselves in harmony with try and develop harmony within ourselves that we can share with others. And the idea is that, eventually we'll have communities of people who are striving to live in harmony. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, that's kind of basically the gist of it.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for explaining it to me. Honestly, it sounds kind of like my aunt and uncle because they both believe in a higher power that they say sometimes they'll call it God, but they
Sure.
don't necessarily um they don't there really is no Jesus, or they don't like church and like all the intricacies and the interpersonal
Hmm.
politics of the church and Christianity. They're not heavily involved in. And so when they pray, I think it's more out of harmony and self improvement and love. So it almost sounds like they're
I can
very
appreciate
similar.
their position. It's very similar to me. I think people. Um, I think it's possible that people lean too heavily on religion, and it kind of might be a distraction from personal introspection and consideration and development. And as long as you're cooperating with the group, it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off of you as an individual. When you don't have a group at all, I mean, you really have to be self motivated to um, live according to your highest light, because they don't have that group pressure. And I think there's a lot of benefits to being in a group, but um, I think if you find a healthy group, really in harmony, then that's great. But there are not a lot of them around.
Yeah, no, I agree because, well, I for so long, like me, just like I'd say most people, literally here in the West,
Yeah.
my whole childhood was oversaturation of Christianity. Grew up Pentecostal, just very everything, everywhere you went, everybody you knew was Christian. It was all about the
Mhm.
church. And but what I realized was exactly, you just brought up a really great point. Was I noticed a lot of people, it's like it seemed like they were leaning away from the things that they were struggling with or they had to be accountable for, or just everything that I felt like would have been better to put energy towards. Um, and I always wondered, even as a kid, like, are they doing it because it's easier to be a part of something, or are they doing it because of community pressure? And so recently, and I'm 25, I'm in my mid 20s, I'm still trying to find myself, but I stopped going to church completely, you know,
Mhm.
and I've questioned a lot of the things that I've been taught. And when I pray to a God because there are times in my life where I feel like I've had a positive driving influence on my life. And I think when I think about whenever I pray and I say Jesus, because that's what I've been taught through, religious people, religion.
Mhm. Sure.
That's just habitual. But I've
Yeah.
always felt like there was a positive force behind me. But there's so many, there's so much to Christianity and the religion, and there's so many issues within the church that, and like the exploitation of young adults and children within the church that have, it's given me a huge aversion to Christianity. And whenever you tell people that you're deconstructing or you're at least challenging your faith, I always get gaslit, and it's like, so this whole, when you described your whole, faithists to me,
Hmm.
I'm like, it kind of sounds like I like the perspective of removing yourself from like the toxic poisons of
Yeah.
forced community religion and simply focusing on, the positive aspects. So thank you for telling me more about,
Well,
what.
you're welcome. I mean, I would, of course, recommend reading the Book of Owaspy, and it's very interesting. It's not necessary for personal growth. I mean, I found it very useful. The thing that I have found useful about it is it doesn't really have any unique ideas, but what it does have, because all of the ideas you can find in a variety of places all around the world, in all kinds of cultures and religions, but they're all sort of separate and scattered. I have never found a book with all of these principles in one place. And I haven't found it. I'm not saying it's not there, but I haven't found any internal contradictions. It's very internally cohesive as far as the philosophy or the principles involved, which is pretty rare. Usually you pick up any book and you can find a lot of, well, at least some internal inconsistencies. Um, so, yeah, it's a pretty big book. I mean, it's about 1,000 pages, but if you're a reader, it's 1,000 pages to me is a big book. A lot of people don't find that to be overwhelming.
Yeah, I'll have to look that out because I am a reader. So with 1,000 pages, it's like if I'm interested in something, that'll go by quickly. But
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you're a reader, I know you can, it's open pub. There are publications. I do have a physical book, but you can get them. It's in the public domain, so you can get the free PDFs a couple different places online.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll have to look at that. And can I ask you, so how long you were a Christian, and then when did you start kind of, because it said
Sure.
former Christian, like when did you start veering away from that perspective?
Um, well, I was born into Christianity.
Mm.
Um, I was kind of a closet Wiccan for like 10 years. When I was like maybe mid teenagers to like 25 or so. And then I came back, to the church. I probably have been exiting the church for probably started around 35 and been fully out for about 3 or 4 years, and I'm 43. So it took me a better part of a decade to really process things and really just be out and independent. It was a pretty slow process. I left the denomination I was born into. Then, so I went to started going to community church, and then I left that and just went to Bible study, and then I left that. It was like a slow process of,
Yeah.
just trying to be authentic to what I was comfortable with and what I was researching, what I was finding. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me that. Yeah, because what's when you brought up that you were a closeted Wiccan, because recently what I've also learned, and it's sort of contributed to me challenging Christianity as a whole, but like a lot of these other religions that I was like, oh, that's just devil worship and stuff, because I've been doing a lot of research, not for like the
mhm.
sake of joining, but like um uh like pagan religions and stuff. I've been learning a lot about these other practices that people do, right? And a lot of the things that we learn in church, that, oh, it's just all devil worship.
Hmm.
And a lot of it really isn't. Like
Yeah.
it really, it boils down to an appreciation of nature, of life, of self-challengement. And so like I learning these things, it
Hmm.
motivates me to get rid of these very, decades long ingrained
Yeah.
labels that Christianity does. Because, for example, Norse paganism, right? I started learning about that more, and it's like they appreciate the earth. They, a lot of it is ancestral worship and stuff, and like these are prevalent in cultures everywhere. I mean, even here in the West, we do that even outside of Christianity. So, but when people bring up, oh, it's just a different religion, it's a different practice, the first thing as kids we learn is, oh, that's just devil worship. Don't trust it. So it
Hmm.
really is a lot.
I mean, yeah, the more I've looked into like doing what you're doing, like right now, I still have a tremendous amount of things in common with what would be considered pagans. I mean, I do energy healing. I celebrate the solstices and equinoxes. I try and stay connected to nature as much as possible because, the creation is a reflection of the creator. So if I'm worshiping the creator, mastering the elements, and being connected, it it's all part of the growing experience. And yeah, anything outside of Christianity is always going to be demonized by
Yeah.
Christians.
I've learned as well. And it's like so many societies, like you have people on different sides of the globe engaging in similar spiritual practices for
Mhm.
meditation, for health. And it's
Yeah.
like when all these other religions besides Christianity, and like there's proven healing methods, whether it be physical, psychological, spiritual, when all these other religions are doing, and then Christianity is this huge thing that has all these other negative connotations, such as colonization and things
Hmm.
like that. You really just have to think outside of the box more. So like I said, I'll have to find this book because I have a Barnes and Noble, thank God, near where I
Oh,
live.
cool.
And but if not, I'll just get it on Amazon. But yeah, no, thank you for telling me about your perspective. So
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, it'd be great to stay connected. I just noticed you have a private account, but yeah, if you do read it and you want to have a follow-up conversation, I'd be more than happy to continue the dialogue because I think we should continue. I mean, everybody should be constantly striving to learn from each other and not judging each other. I think that's the only way we can really come together and progress as a family. We're all part of the same family, humans.
yeah, I agree. Well, like I said, I'll let you go, but thank you for having me up here.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm probably going to end the live. I got to go back to work. So, all right. Um, yeah, I really don't have enough time to bring up another guest. So, I'm going to end the live. If anybody wants to look into a WASP or faithism or just have conversations about religion and spiritual growth and development in the future, I'm all about that, and I love talking about that, and also energy healing. I've been doing Reiki for 20 years, Shiva Murti for about 6 months, and sort of have a combination of lots of different healing modalities that I do with quantum field healing. And if anybody wants to experience quantum field healing, I offer free healing sessions here on TikTok, or if you want a private session, contact me and would love to just get the word out that, yeah, you can um, experience the power of the creator in a real way. Yeah.